So it is a pleasure to enter this office of the Presidential Spokesperson, and I look forward to a healthy, exciting, and fun working relationship with members of the Malacañang Press Corps. For today, I ask all of you, please be very gentle. I think I could take some questions if you have any.
Questions? First question, Raniada of Rappler.
Good morning, sir. Sir, just a few questions. The President referred to you as his secretary. So this has been, sir, that you is it going to happen that you will have a separate office from the PCOO? It will be an OPS distinct from the PCOO?
I believe it will be an independent office. I was given a cabinet rank. But of course, needless to say, I will be working very closely with Secretary Andanar and the PCOO.
All right. Sir, you also gave hints in previous interviews that the President may have also offered you another position. Could you maybe give us some details about that position?
I think I would rather wait until the President issues my formal appointment papers.
Sir, could you give us a clue? Sir, is it an advisor position? Or?
It's just an advisory position that will not be incompatible with a cabinet appointment.
All right. Last question from me. Sir, in the previous days, you were giving interviews and you mentioned, especially dun sa interview with Asik Mo Kauson, you have threats against critics. You said that you would throw hollow blocks at them, and then you also said you wouldn't curse, but you would scream at critics. Sir, I just want to ask, does this manner of speaking have a place in the administration, given that the admin not only represents Duterte supporters, but all law-abiding citizens, regardless of political leaning?
Well, let me be very clear. I was addressing Mocha Uson's 5.5 million followers. And of course, that's a public forum, no? But the message I wanted to send to the DDS was, I have the back of the President covered, no? Now, you can take it literally or figuratively, but what I meant was, since I believe in the free marketplace of ideas, stones hurled are welcome, but expect to have bigger stones thrown back at you. I think that's the nature of the free marketplace of ideas. It is only where we have clash of ideas that we are able to discern what the truth is and what is right.
But sir, do you think that given that the government is at a powerful position compared to citizens, that this kind of language might actually create a threatening environment, which is actually going to compromise the free marketplace of ideas that you so want to espouse?
With all due respect, I don't think the DDS supporters whom I was addressing had that in mind. But for purposes of the mainstream media, I could assure you that my track record speaks for itself. I am for free exchange of ideas, and I welcome opposing and conflicting views as healthy and important in a democracy.
Thank you, sir.
Next question, please. Yes, sir. Microphone, please. Thank you.
Secretary Roque, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Just for the record, may we know if there is any marching order from the President as the new presidential spokesman?
Only two things, no? Stick for what is right for the country and never lie. So do what is right and tell the truth. Two orders.
Okay. Next question. Question, please.
You're becoming very gentle.
Rose Novenario.
I can use a little roughing
Microphone,
up.
please.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
may sumusulpot ngayon o may napaulat na anomalya po sa Social Security System involving stock market manipulation. Meron na po bang ulat sa Malacañang si President Dook or Chairman Amado Valdez tungkol dito? Given po na noong pong panahon ng Estrada regime ay napasama po sa plunder trial ni Mr. Estrada, yun pong paggamit ng SSS funds para pa bumili ng stocks sa BW Resources. Ano po yung masasabi nyo rito?
Lilinawin ko po, ang siniwalat ni Chairman, no, si Chairman Dean, na nangyari sa SEC is insider trading. Wala pong anomalya na nag-impluwensya ang mga empleyado para bumili ng one stock. They benefited from insider information. And as you know, it was the chairman himself who made this public. So it shows that the SSS, in line with the administration's goal of eradicating corruption, will not tolerate foul play, particularly in the management of the SSS funds. I think that was very clear.
So ano po yung stance po ng Malacañang dito sa di umano'y pagkakasangkot ng actuary chief at nung isa pang opisyal po ng SSS, ayon na rin po kay Mr. Valdez.
Chairman Valdez has ordered an investigation. There will be prosecutions. There will be people who will be fired and criminal charges filed if warranted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question, Dexter Ganivia, DZMM.
Hi, Sec. Good morning. Sec, madalas nating mapakinggan kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte kanyang panawagan lalo na sa ilalim ng executive branch na live a modest life at gumamit ng mga sasakyan na hindi naman masyado magagapa pero hindi yung mamahalin. Are you willing to comply or sumunod dun sa ganong panawagan ng Pangulo?
Yung aking magandang kotse po is 5 years old. Ibig sabihin, hindi na ako po pwedeng bumili ng bago. So maluluma na po sa akin yung maganda kong kotse. I understand the vehicle to be assigned to a cabinet secretary is an Innova. So I said, sure, I will use an Innova.
So hindi nyo nagagamitin yung BMW or...
Well, I would say that because there's a free car, why not use the free car? 5-year-old car, I will save it from further depreciation.
Next question po.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
morning sir. Nandito po ako.
Ay.
Yes, sir.
Sir Deo.
Can you react po? Kasi sinabi po ni Senator Tony Trillanes na ano daw po ba nangyari? Parang hasapian din daw po kayo ng masamang espiritu.
I think that's in line with Halloween. So let's leave it at that.
Next question, Ma'am Celerina.
Good morning, sir. Celerina Monte from the Daily Manila Shimbun, Japanese newspaper. Sir, there's this new report by the World Bank regarding ease of doing business wherein the Philippines dropped by 40 notches on its rank. While there's this improvement on the scores, however, other countries improved much. That's why we slipped in the rank. May we know what's the government action in order to recover our rank, to improve our status?
Well, Secretary Lopez mentioned this actually in Japan, no? But he did say that although we fell in the rankings, that our scores improved. Unfortunately, we were compared to a list of only about 30 countries and not all countries in general. He assured me that if the comparison is made with all other countries, there would have been an improvement. Nonetheless, we will take this report very seriously, and I think the President has shown the political will, no, to get things done, and I'm sure that this report will be a reason for us to further innovate and make sure that doing business in the Philippines will become easier.
Do we have any target, like before the Aquino administration has its own target, but it failed to reach the target? So do we have any target as to the rank?
Knowing the President, in November next year, he would want to see an improvement in the rankings.
But no specific, like at this level?
Right now, there's none. I still have to confer with Secretary Lopez, no, but I am sure the President in November of next year would want to see a substantial improvement regardless of whatever reasons the department may have to justify, no, the standing of the Philippines. I assure you, things will move in DTI to make it easier for individuals to invest.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Microphone po.
Hey sir, good morning po. Lianes Capandia, Manila Times. Covered you in the house po.
I know. Nandito ka na pala. Mabuti naman may familiar face. Pwede ba magdala ka pa mas marami? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I would just like to clarify about the Marawi siege because the President already declared Marawi liberated from terrorists, and yet over the weekend there's an Indonesian who was arrested, a Maute fighter, and he said, and the army confirmed this today, that there are still 39 Maute fighters in the area. So I'm just trying to reconcile, if it is liberated, why is it that there are still 39 Maute fighters at large?
I think that's easy to explain. It's the nature of urban street warfare. There's no open shooting in Marawi now. I don't think they have the capability to engage us frontally, but they may still be in hiding, and that is why the military continues to exercise caution. That's also the reason why we have not allowed civilians completely to return to the war zone area.
Sir, it's what is it? What is the situation? Is it safe to return for the evacuees to return to their homes, or just in parts of Marawi?
There were
How
parts.
how will we describe the situation now?
Well, you see, my plan is on this Wednesday, I will conduct a press briefing in Marawi itself because I would want to be informed about what's really happening. If you recall, I've had 2 trips to Marawi, once to distribute relief goods to the Bakwits, because I was the author of the IDP bill, Rights of Internally Displaced Persons, and another to provide burgers and other materials for the soldiers. No? This Wednesday, I've asked actually the PCOO to arrange a Wednesday briefing because I understand the Malacañang Press Corps does not want a briefing on Wednesdays. So in fact, I'm planning on doing briefings regularly on Wednesdays from the ground in Marawi. I could probably give you better answers when I get there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question, Rose Cause of UNTV, to be followed by JP Pensito.
Hi sir, good morning po.
Hi.
Sir, hingin po namin ng palace statement regarding sa ipinahayag po ni DDB Chair, Dangerous Drugs Board Chair Dionisio Santiago na mistake po yung construction ng mega rehab sa Nueva Ecija dahil malaki yung naigugol at hindi naman po ganun nagagamit yung 10,000 bed capacity. Mas maganda daw po na mag-construct ng mga community-based rehab centers.
Well, alam niyo po, wala pong pera ng gobyerno na ginastos dyan sa mega rehab centers na tinayo. No? Yan po ibinigay na isang philanthropist na Chino. No? So, bagamat ganyan pong opinion ng pinuno ng Dangerous Drug Board, ang assurance naman po natin, walang nasayang na pondo ng gobyerno. That was a decision made by the donor and we can't do anything about it. But we will certainly consider what the expert has said, and in the future, if we're to invest public funds, we will pursue the strategy recommended by the head of the DDB.
Samantalahin ko na rin po. Reaction din po ng Malacañang regarding po dun sa kabubuo lang po na grupo na manlaban sa extrajudicial killings na binubuo po ng mga lawyers, law professors, judges, at law students.
We welcome that, no? Because you see, under our existing laws, not just in the Philippines but worldwide, there is not one legal system in the world that does not recognize the principle of presumption of regularity in the discharge of official functions. No? The only way by which we can overcome this presumption is if there is controverting evidence. So kung may ebidensya that the presumption should not apply, the presumption will not be applied. And I welcome this development because unless we can come up with actual evidence na mayroong extralegal killings talaga, then we cannot overcome the presumption. But as far as extralegal killings is concerned, I came to this job knowing fully well the official position of the president, which he made public after the killing of Kian. No? He will not tolerate murders. He will only tolerate killings when it is in line with duty and when the engagement is legal. And he had, in fact, asked that the police officers involved in the Kian killing be arrested by General Bato.
Thank you. JP, next.
Hi, Secretary. Good morning. Sir,
Yes,
JP
sir.
Bencito, Manila Standard. Sir, can we get your reaction on the third quarter social weather station survey? Sir, it says that 46% of Filipinos and 35% disagree that it cannot be avoided that there are innocent civilians who will die in order to eradicate the drug problem.
Ano uli yung figure? I'm sorry.
46% agree and 35% disagree that it cannot be avoided that there are civilians who will die in order to completely eradicate the drug problem.
So it's almost split in the middle. No?
Yes, sir. Does the palace agree to this survey? What are your thoughts on this, sir?
Well, in any war, unfortunately, there will be collateral damage. The goal of the government is to minimize the collateral damage. The goal of the government is to uphold the right to life, now, which is to protect and promote the right to life. As far as this obligation is concerned, there is a continuing obligation of the state to investigate, prosecute, and punish the perpetrators of these killings. And that is why earlier I said I welcome the creation of that group of lawyers because we need the help of civil society in overcoming the presumption of regularity in the discharge of functions.
Sir, pahabol na lang din po on another topic. Sir, can we just get an outlook of how do you view the trip of the President to Japan since you were part of the delegation, sir?
Very successful, no? We came home with 6 billion worth of investments. We came home with a promise to build a subway, and I'm most excited about a subway because that's really the solution to the traffic problem. I'm happy that we're building a 2 billion liquefied natural gas facility somewhere in the south. LNG is an alternative energy source that is clean and that is cheap compared to regular petroleum. There's 40 patrol vessels that will be used to improve our maritime capability. And most important, there's the currency swap, which makes now the peso freely convertible to yen. Dati-rati po kasi kinakailangan palitan muna sa dolyar. Eh maraming nawawala pong salapi sa OFW kapag kada magpapadala sila in peso, eh i-convert muna sa dollars. So it was a hugely successful trip, proof that the pivot to Asia has been paying off.
Thank you. Next, Darrell, then Maricela Lil, then Ted.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Yes,
Daryl
sir.
Pasdo from ABS-CBN News. Sir, may we ask for Palace reaction on the decision of Dole Japan to recall 9,000 bunches of Philippine bananas, especially in light of the Philippines' request to lower tariffs. Sir, kasi may nahanap po na wires dun sa isa sa mga bananas. So, how do we allay concerns from the Japanese regarding the quality of our bananas?
If I'm not mistaken, the Philippines is probably the biggest supplier of bananas to Japan. It's unfortunate that this incident happened. It's not too big. The shipment is not too big. I don't think it will affect our current status as the biggest, if not one of the biggest suppliers of the fruit product into Japan. I think it was just an accident.
Sir, one more question from my part.
And take
Sir,
note, this is not a phytosanitary concern.
Yes.
Kasi ang delikado dyan, when countries impose non-tariff barriers, they impose what is known as phytosanitary. Kunwari, sinasabi nila, there's a threat to health, no? And some countries are notorious for barring agricultural products on this basis, no? But that was not the reason invoked by Japan. So I don't think there's too much of a reason to worry.
Sir, another question. Sir, you served as the legal counsel of Malaya Lolas.
Yes.
I understand. So, sir, how does your being accepted as the presidential spokesperson affect your advocacy in seeking wartime rape redress, sir?
It hasn't affected it
hasn't.
at all, in the sense that the advocacy is continued by Center Law, which is an organization that I founded. But I ceased to be connected with Center Law when I joined government as a member of Congress, because the nature of civil society is that it is divorced from government. So I'm happy to say that I founded that organization, that they continue with their mandate, and they will continue even without me.
Thank you, sir.
Next, Maricel.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir.
Yes.
Maricel,
Hi.
Hello po. Sir, just a few clarification. I think you mentioned in one of your interviews that you're planning to hire, or there is a need for a deputy spokesperson. May we know if you have someone in mind who might be your deputy spokesperson, and what will be your criteria in choosing, sir?
Well, number one, I want a millennial. Number two, I want someone better looking than me, so that the women will fall in love with him. And I want someone who speaks better than me. I promise the women, you will like the person I have in mind.
Sir, why is there a need for a deputy spokesperson?
Only because I may not be here all the time. I do want to spend a lot of time in Marawi. I will be there on Wednesdays because you don't want to have me around on Wednesdays. So I will go and meet the Provincial Press Corps on Wednesdays. So, but there's always someone who should be able to give the palace position on different issues. And I think I'm choosing this person because I want a link between a 72-year-old president and the millennials of today.
Alright.
You
Sir,
will not be disappointed with my choice.
Sir, just a clarification, hindi kami yung ayaw na mag-press ko ng Wednesday. Gusto ka namin nandito.
It was only given to us.
Hindi kami yon. But anyway, sir,
But you know, forgive me, but it's an innovation that I thought of because the rebuilding is soon to begin. And I think the people should know exactly what's happening on the ground. That's why it's going to be very difficult for me to be flying to Marawi every Tuesday evening. And it's a very long drive from Cagayan de Oro. It's very complicated for security reasons and logistics reasons. But I want to do that because I want to bring Malacañang to areas where, you know, attention should be devoted. No?
sir, may we know kung sino po yung kino-consider ninyo na possible maging deputy spokes?
A former student of mine. He can't report yet because he's taking the bar. He doesn't know yet, but I'm sure I will be able to persuade him. Magugulo yung kanyang bar review. So, guguluhin ko siya.
Sir, last question na lang po. What particular changes should we expect from OPS?
Well, I've said it again. I am a lawyer. I'm a litigator. So I guess the approach is different. I always will speak from a legal perspective, and believe it or not, one reason why we call lawyering as a fraternity of sorts is it's inculcated in our mind that we have to perform and discharge our obligation pursuant to the Constitution and pursuant to law. So that's a major difference. All pronouncements will be said within the proper legal context.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Ted.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
one question lang. Related, sir, doon sa paghiwalay ng OPS sa PCOO, magkakaroon po ba kayo ng restructuring doon sa tao ng PCOO? Will you retain those people, yung po mga official ng OPS na manghawak no, under Secretary ABELLA?
I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, no? Dahil narariyan na yung karamihan sa kanila, I'm sure they can stay. And I will repeat what I have said. No one will lose their jobs because it's Christmas. If there will be individuals that will be let go, we will wait until after Christmas. And as I said, I would want to take advantage of the experience of people who are already here. But please understand that as a cabinet post, I also need to bring in people whom I can completely trust. And that's the only reason why I'm bringing in new personalities.
Thank you, sir.
Next, Ted Tuvera, then Rose Nobinario. Microphone, please.
Good morning, Secretary.
Yes,
Secretary, you're known to be an international law expert, and now as presidential spokesperson, how would you explain President Duterte's frequent tirades against the European Union, the United Nations, and the United States?
Well, it's part of international relations, no? When the president complains about certain acts of sovereign states, he does so with a reason, no? In the case of the European Union, he felt that there was a violation of the UN Charter, specifically the principle of non-interference, no? Because the drug war is a sovereign undertaking, and it is a sovereign undertaking, no? So it's only understandable that the president expressed displeasure where he feels that this tenet of non-interference is being violated by other countries.
Do you think that it is necessary to curse them, Secretary?
I think people should get used to the president by now, and they must be used to the president after almost a year and a half.
Secretary, on another issue, you were quoted as saying in a report over the weekend that you want to advise the president. That's why you entered cabinet. What would you advise him on the issue of human rights, given that he has this negative reputation in terms of human rights before the international community?
Well, as I said, no, a primary difference between me and other spokespersons is I'm not just a lawyer, I was a practicing lawyer and very active practitioner at that. Now, the president is no different. He practiced criminal law. He was a public prosecutor. And it's a matter really of making the president realize that criminal law is actually a manner of enforcing human rights. Because when you prosecute a case of murder, you do so because a murderer violated the right to life. That kind of an advice, I think, no, would be appropriate. That there is no incompatibility between his public policies, his directives, and human rights itself.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. Next, Rose Novinario.
Good morning uli, sir.
Hi,
Hi, sir.
again.
Ano po yung statement ng palasyo tungkol po dun sa New York City attack po kahapon? Yung lone wolf attack po ng isang truck driver.
I saw the statement from the palace. There was a statement issued. We, of course, express our condolence to the victims. And we have advised the Filipinos in New York to inform the closest consulate if there are any Filipino casualties. But beyond that, you know, this attack proves that terrorism is really a worldwide problem. It's also, I think, attributed to the same terrorist group that is responsible for Marawi. So this again proves that the issue of terrorism had ceased to be a domestic issue, that there's a need for concerted action among states in dealing with the menace of modern-day terrorism.
Sir, ano po yung maipapayo natin sa publiko na para po maiwasan yung ganitong klaseng pag-atake sa Pilipinas? Dahil po sa Amerika, yung US Transportation and Security Agency, nagbigay po sila ng babala sa mga truck owners or yung malalaking vehicle owners po na maging mapanuri po sa halimbawa po sa pag-upgrade po ng mga sasakyang malalaki at yung pagpapaarkila po sa mga taong hindi po nagbibigay ng kanilang background. So, paano po ito pwedeng mai-apply po rito sa Pilipinas?
Wala alam niyo po, kinakailangan maging mapagmasid ang ating mga taong bayan. Kung meron kayo nakikita na kahinalang mga pakete na naiiwan sa mga lugar na pampubliko, ipagbigay alam po natin kaagad sa ating mga otoridad. No? I think this is a kind of awareness that we need to develop as a people. When I was a student in the UK, that kind of awareness was prevalent amongst the British public. No? So the same kind of vigilance is required amongst all Filipinos now. No? Let's be vigilant, let's be observant, and let's not hesitate to inform the authorities in case we believe there is a threat coming from anything or anyone.
Last two questions, Ina Andolong and Hannah Sancho.
Bakit si Philip hindi mo tinawag?
Tatawagin
Ha?
ko, sir.
Ayaw mong tawagin si Philip, no? Siyempre, tatawagin mo siya dahil pinagpipiestahan ako. Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, the Food and Drug Administration is expected to issue soon a decision on some question contraceptives. Ito po yung mga, ide-declare daw po ito ng mga non-abortive agents. In effect, this decision is expected to finally lift the TRO on these contraceptives, which has been preventing the full implementation of the RH law. Can we get your thoughts on this, especially since in his last SONA, the President did talk about this?
Hallelujah is all I can say because this should have been done a long time ago. And this is the only thing that the Supreme Court wants anyway, so that we can fully implement the RH law. As you know, the President is fully committed to enforcing the RH law. Population management is important to economic growth. And with this development, I see no reason why the Supreme Court will continue with this temporary restraining order.
Sir, in that same SONA, the President said that this batch of contraceptives were about to expire the month after. And nautusan din po niya, he gave a directive to, now former Health Secretary Ubial to distribute those contraceptives. May we know the status? Natuloy po ba yun or did it just go to waste?
Can I invoke a conflict of interest as far as Secretary Ubial is concerned? But there's good reasons for that because I really believe that reproductive health could have been implemented earlier had he ordered the FDA to do this earlier rather than file a motion for reconsideration. But that again is a difference of legal opinion on matter of strategy. But we can see now that this process that the FDA recently concluded could easily have been done earlier had the DOH pressed the FDA to do so.
So naipamigay po yun, sir?
I have no information. I'll find out. But you see, as I said, I have a conflict of interest there. So let's ask the incoming secretary.
Okay. And just a different topic, sir, I have to ask. How long, sir, do you see yourself serving as spokesman? Because in some of the President's speeches, he would refer to you, although in a joking manner, as a senator. I was just wondering if, is that a hint of the President maybe having any plans for 2019 which may affect your position as spokesman?
Alam mo, itong mga pangyayari na talaga akong spokesperson, ang motto ko ngayon, thine will be done. Sino ba naman akalain maging spokesperson ako? None of you probably expected it in the same way that I did not expect it. So in the same way that I do not know what I'll be doing tomorrow, I leave it to the Lord. Meanwhile, I'll just do the best that I can do with this challenge and this opportunity given, and I hope it will be a fun process with all of you there.
Thanks. Hannah, last.
Naku, ayan na si Philip. Buti na lang, kaibigan ko si Philip.
Sir, before kay
He will be
Philip.
gentle.
Morning, Secretary. Before kay Philip, Hannah po of Sunshine Media. Sir, tatanong ko lang, sir, regarding dun sa sinabi ng ni Ambassador Kim na hindi po daw totoo na yung CIA may plano pong destabilization plot against kay President Duterte, which is contradict po dun sinabi ng Pangulong Duterte. At I think may isa ring White House official na nag-deny din po nito. Statement po ng palace, sir.
Well, if that is true, we're happy. But if the President says that there is, I have no position to dispute what the President says. The President has access to information that he only has access to. I have not seen it. But I trust and believe that my President will not say anything without factual basis. I stand by whatever my President says.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay, and Philip.
Ay, sir, good morning.
Hi, Philip.
Long way. Sir, may update na po ba kay dating spokesperson ABELLA kung saan siya mapupunta?
Wala po akong alam sa totoo lang. Although, minsan ko lang siya nakausap at nagte-text po kami para sa transition. No? Pero ang problema ko po talaga is he is a good friend of mine. You know that we belong to the same church. He is one of our pastors. I think he did a brilliant job as spokesperson. I don't think I can ever be as calm as Secretary ABELLA, and that's why he's a very difficult act to follow. I have asked for his prayers, and I will pray for him. But I'm sure there's something in store for Secretary ABELLA.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you po.
That was mild.
Okay?
Sir, follow up lang po on two things about Japanese loans as a result of the visit and comfort women, because President Duterte said last year that he will raise this issue with the Japanese. I'm curious if the issue of comfort women has been raised, considering that Japan already agreed to a compensation deal with South Korean comfort women.
I'm almost
Our
sure.
comfort women don't enjoy the same benefits, sir. So, has this been discussed on the table or anything on the table concerning our comfort women?
I'm almost sure this was not discussed in the Japan trip. I do not know if the president will bring it up, but in my personal capacity, I will confer with Secretary Alan Cayetano of the Department of Foreign Affairs.
Saka, sir, second, you are also with the president during his visit to China po.
Yes.
And China also had granted us loans. But I've seen figures, the interest rates of the Japanese, it's like 0.01% to 0.03 or 1.15% is the highest, as compared with China as high as 6%. So would you say the Japanese gave a more generous deal for the Philippines?
I think the rates will speak for themselves, but the decision on where we will purchase and how much interest we will pay will really depend on which country will provide the best commodity for us. So I trust that our authorities will make the correct decisions, no? And let's accord them that presumption.